In a fairly weak moment after I was defeated and while I was still in office, I made a statement that I was going to emulate Harry Truman and not use my service in the White House to enrich myself.
Emulate means to copy something. So if you emulate another person, it means that you're trying to behave like the other person is behaving. Or similarly with computers, one computer can emulate another computer. It means it's behaving like the other computer is behaving. For example, there's programs with Microsoft Windows that enable it to emulate an Apple computer so that it can run Apple software.
When someone emulates another person, that means they choose that person as a role model and try to act and behave and maybe dress like them, right?
Usually, yes, it's a positive thing. It can also mean to mimic someone, which would be where the copy was too perfect or almost comical. Emulate is generally more of a positive quality, where, say, younger executives might try to emulate the more powerful executives and not copy them directly, but try to do things similarly to the way that they would do it. Follow in their footsteps, exactly. Like a lot of employees at Apple, they tried to emulate Steve Jobs. Similarly, at Microsoft, they try to emulate Bill Gates. Find somebody that's successful and try to do the same things that they're doing. If you want to be successful, copy success. You want to be a failure, copy failure.
Well, he's been a blight on our effort in South Sudan because he's located his army in South Sudan based on very false premises of the Ten Commandments and that sort of thing.
Blight? Blight is a plant disease. For example, you can have corn blight, or in the case of the Irish famine, they had potato blight. This is a disease that ruins the plant, destroys the food. You can also use the term blight to talk about something that is negative to a certain degree, not to a complete degree. Social issues, for example, you can talk about urban blight, and in this case you might be referring to older buildings that are run down.
Or to anything that becomes an increasing problem in a city, you can call it an urban blight, like maybe the growing crime rate.
Exactly, that can be a blight. Also, unemployment can be a blight as well.
Let's say there's an alcoholic in a family, you can say that's a real blight
on the family.
I think that's an area that's very difficult to implement. Of course, the International Criminal Court, as you know, have indicted him, and so forth.
Indict someone, that's to accuse someone formally of a crime. For example, the police will oftentimes investigate what they believe to be criminal activity, and then once they get enough evidence, they'll go to the district attorney, who will go to the grand jury, who will issue a formal indictment against the person, which is similar to a formal arrest warrant.
So your neighbor can accuse you of taking his lawnmower, but if you go to a court and they do it in a formal way, then you will face an indictment.
Exactly. Or you could say he was accused but never indicted, which means that people were pretty sure that he was doing something criminal, but they never got enough evidence against him to indict him.
I don't think it's appropriate for a Western nation to intrude on the sovereignty of a country, even though a criminal might be within that country.
Intrude more or less means to stick your nose into someone else's business, or to go somewhere where you shouldn't go, where you don't have permission to go. For example, a burglar is also called an intruder, or someone, if they go into a building and they're not supposed to be in the building, they could be an intruder as well, and they may or may not be trying to commit criminal activity. But the assumption is that they are very likely to be criminal. Similarly, you can intrude on someone's conversation if two people are talking, and then you walk up to them and then you start talking to them too, uninvited. Or if you have a piece of food stuck on your face, someone might say, I don't want to intrude, but you have a piece of food on your face. Or you have some spaghetti in your hair or something, where they're trying to make you aware of something negative that you should be aware of.
Well, I think the main thing is for the United States to strive once more to be a genuine superpower. And this is a presumptuous thing on me. I'm not saying that I know more than others, but I'll try to answer your question as best I can. The United States now has the greatest military power.
A presumptuous means to get ideas about something or make assumptions about something which may or may not be true. And presumptuous is associated with a type of personality that's very arrogant, very haughty, where somebody might assume they are smarter than all the other people, or they might act as if their decisions are the best decisions without taking into consideration the opinions of the other people as well. You could say that a politician is being very presumptuous when he says that anybody who opposes him is opposing him for false reasons. He doesn't know that the reasons against him are false. It could be they're against him because they don't like his ideas.
That's all for today. Tom Taylor is an ESL tutor. He teaches English in the United States and outside, all over the world, using Skype. He can be reached at his website, which is
ESL-fullsteamahead.com.
Click on this link and check out his website and email with questions. Thank you, Tom, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.